Hello everyone, I'm Heather, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about the special Monet exhibit that we saw at the Art Institute Museum of Chicago when we were in Chicago actually last week. It's been about a week since we came home now, and I realized that I never actually filmed anything to share the details of the exhibit with you. As I mentioned in my earlier video about our general visit to the Art Institute, which I will link right up here, you are allowed to take photographs of the pieces of art in the Art Institute Museum, but you are not allowed to take any video. So I didn't video while we were going through the Art Institute. I didn't take any video in the Monet exhibit, but I did take a lot of photographs of all of the paintings that I particularly enjoyed. There were many more paintings than what I'm going to put in this video, but these are the ones that I really liked the best. The exhibit was divided into periods of Monet's life and different times and places where he lived, and each kind of little room was from a particular place where he lived in a particular time period in his life and gave kind of an explanation of what he was doing and what was happening in his life at that time. And I tried to get at least one picture from each of those sections. So there should be at least one piece of artwork in this upcoming little slideshow that I'm going to do that comes from each section of the exhibit to give you kind of a representative sample of what was there. Okay, I have a particular interest in Monet because I am a fan of Impressionist art. I also, as we've talked about in our videos before, we are all kind of Francophiles. We like everything French. We all study the French language. I have been to France. My son Andrew has been to France more than once. He has spent a pretty extensive amount of time in France and other French-speaking countries in Europe and North Africa. My son Andrew actually did go to Giverny in France to see where Monet lived and the special exhibits that they have there about Monet's life. And Ben even did a pretty good copy of one of Monet's paintings, and that we have it framed up in his bedroom, actually. I'll put a picture of that in right here. We went to the Monet exhibit as part of our overall visit to the Art Institute in Chicago on Thursday, March 18th, 2021. So this was during the pandemic. And if you go back and watch that earlier video that I did about the museum as a whole, that gives you kind of some more information about how the pandemic affected things at the museum. For this particular exhibit, this is a temporary exhibit, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be there. I would have to look that up. I'll try to find that information and put it down here on the bottom of the screen for you, like what the dates are, if they are available. It is a separately priced exhibit, so you do have to buy a separate ticket to see the Monet exhibit. And you do need to buy your tickets online. All of your tickets for like pretty much any museum or attraction you're going to right now, you have to buy your tickets ahead of time online. And we did that, and it was not very expensive. I believe it was $7 each for me and for Megan, and for Ben it was free. Like I mentioned in my earlier video, the age cutoff for youth for the Art Institute is quite a bit older than what it would be for most places. So you're actually getting into the teen years before they, start charging you. I bought those tickets along with buying my regular tickets for the Art Institute, and in total I think I only spent like $60 to $65 for everything, so it wasn't bad at all. Now, unlike our entrance to both Shed Aquarium and the Museum of Science and Industry, or both of which I also made videos about, which you'll be able to find here on my channel, those both had a timed entry. So we had to arrive at the museum and check in at a certain time or within a certain time window. The Art Institute was not like that. You could show up anytime you wanted during the regular hours. And then how it worked for the Monet exhibit, though, to limit capacity in the exhibit, was they had a virtual queue. So if you're familiar with the virtual queue that they use for Rise of the Resistance at Walt Disney World, it's like that. But it's not even exactly like that, because they don't assign you like a boarding group like they do there or a time. They just put you on the virtual queue, and then they text you when it's your turn. There were two places you could join the virtual queue. When you first entered the museum, there were museum employees standing there with tablets, and they would put you on the virtual queue. You gave them your name, and I think you had to show them your ticket, and they put you on the virtual queue. That was one place, and that's what we did. So as soon as we came in, we had already checked into the museum, and then we went to a different employee. There was one employee who was scanning your regular tickets, and then there were these other people, couple of them, standing there kind of hovering around that you could go up to and say, can you put me on the virtual queue for the Monet exhibit? And then likewise, if you actually got all the way up to the Monet exhibit, which was up on the second floor, pretty far back in the museum, it was quite a ways to get there, and you tried to check in with your tickets and you weren't on the virtual queue yet, they would stop you and say, you need to get on the virtual queue. And they would kind of give you an estimate of how long it was. When we first checked in to the virtual queue, I immediately got a text saying, thank you for joining the virtual queue. Your estimated wait time is 60 minutes. So that's when we then went down to the Thorn miniature rooms, and I figured, we could probably get the whole lower level of the museum done in that 60 minutes. Well, then sometime after we had finished the Thorn miniature rooms and had headed over to the new modern art wing, I got another text saying, your time has been extended. It's now between 60 and 90 minutes. And this had probably been an hour already. So we were going around the modern art wing, and then we'd done a good portion of that, like, one whole floor of it or whatever. And I got another text saying, it's time for you to come to the virtual, it's your turn, basically. Please report to the Monet exhibit. So we actually kind of finished up the section we were in and then made our way over to the Monet exhibit from there. So when we got there, they asked, did you get a text saying that it's your turn on the virtual queue? And I said, yes. And I showed them my text, and then they scanned my tickets for the actual Monet exhibit, and then they let us in. And similar to the rest of the museum, there were social distancing markers on the floor. Again, like I said, for the rest of the museum, it wasn't terribly clear like what piece of art you were supposed to look at first within each room, but the rooms were arranged in order, so you went through it in a specific order, and nobody was backtracking or anything like that. It was a little more crowded than I felt comfortable with, so I'm not sure what they're keeping the capacity at, but it was still probably a little more people than I felt comfortable with, but it was okay. And it took us, how long do you think it took us to go through that?
I have no idea.
I want to say probably like 20, 30 minutes to go through the exhibit. And you obviously could go faster or slower than that. I mean, if you just whizzed through and just glanced at every painting, you could go a lot faster than that. And if you stood there and like contemplated each painting, or you read every single description next to each painting, which we did not do, it could take a lot longer than that. So it was an enjoyable exhibit. I really like Monet. There were a lot of pieces there that I had never seen before. I was especially intrigued to know that he had done paintings of winter scenes. I had never seen those before. And I especially really like all the things he did when he was living near the sea. Anything of the seashore or nautical themed, I really, really liked those. So I'm going to just piece together the photos of the artwork that I took pictures of here for the rest of the video. And I hope that you enjoy it. And I hope that this video was helpful to you if you are interested in seeing this special Monet exhibit at the Art Institute of Chicago. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.